What is reality? Your answer to that will 1000% determine what yours is. Whenever I say something in regards to depression or trauma or making money or being in shape, fat people eating too much, some very common sense and obvious shit that blames people for their situation, which is exactly what they should be, and says that they can improve it if they so choose. There is always some group of people who respond to what it is that I'm saying, telling me, wait until I get some sort of reality check. And the problem with this is the very base level of that idea and or statement is that the real world, the true reality is this negative thing in which you are living, and it's the lens that you see the world through that is, at least in your mind, the true representation of the world around you. So when I say that fat people are fat because they eat too much, and people say something about being out of touch with reality, what they are saying is that people who are in shape are other than and living in some sort of fantasy world where the rules don't apply to them and they've found a way to escape the confines of the world. Same thing as when I say that depression is your choice, and if you so decide, you don't have to be depressed and it is a result of your actions. People respond with the same thing: wait till you get a reality check. And what they're saying there is that actual reality, the true world, the true plane of existence that we are on is a dreary, dark, and depressing one, and that the people who are not experiencing their depression or depression the same way as they are living outside of that reality. Now, that might not be directly what it is that they're saying, but that's the underlying message in that sort of response and ideology. It's the exact same thing that you see when people talk about celebrities being out of touch with reality, or rich people as a whole being out of touch with reality. What they're saying is that that level of success and that level of money making is somehow other and not a true representation of the real world. And the problem with that thinking is, because that's how you see reality, that's how you believe the world is, you believe that the truest form and most honest existence is bad shit. It's depression, it's anxiety, it's being broke, it's being fat, it's being out of shape, it's having trauma and bad memories that you don't know how to process, it's being in terrible health or living in shitty houses and barely being able to afford food. So that's how you see the world when you say those things. And because you see the world that way, that means that that is always going to be the world that you experience. You're never going to be able to break out of these things and get into a situation where you are more comfortable, or where it is that you would like to be for that matter, because you don't believe that it's a thing that is truly possible. In your mind, the people who are doing that are the exception to the rule, or special, or they are not bound by the confines of the reality that you were bound by. And because you believe that you are beholden to these rules and to these laws, you always will be. Because you believe that the truest representation of reality is your depression, you are forever going to be a person who is depressed. Because at the end of the day, it is what it is that you believe that shapes the world that you experience. When you are telling famous people or wealthy people that they are out of touch because they don't know what it's like to not be able to afford things, or they don't know what it's like for the average person, then you are saying that they are the ones who do not have a proper grasp on the world around them. And what most people seem to think is that common means authentic. And yes, the majority of people struggle. The majority of people are out of shape. The majority of people have trouble paying their bills or affording all of the things that they want to. They can't freely go on vacations or drive the car that they want or live in the house that they want, whatever the fucking case may be. They have issues with all of these things. So they believe, because they have these issues, that they are issues that everyone should be having. And that is what keeps them in the position that they are in. The fact of the matter is, though, it's not that these other people are out of touch. They're just not in touch with your reality in the same way that you are out of touch with their reality. But rather than taking a look at that and thinking that, there are a lot of people who are living this way that I would like to live. There are a lot of people who have the body that I want. There are people who have the jobs that I want, depending on what your goals are. There are people who drive the car that I want, live in the houses that I want. They make the type of money that I want to make. Rather than thinking that those people aren't real people, so to speak, you need to figure out how it is to make your reality resemble their reality, because you can absolutely do that. People do it all the time, every single day. People come from nothing. People come from terrible situations. People come from depression and terrible childhoods and make the greatest possible life that anyone could ever imagine, a life that you yourself would be completely fucking jealous of. But they didn't do that by thinking that these people that they see on TV out in the world, wherever the fuck it is that you live, doing the things that they want, are somehow exempt from the rules of reality. They did it because they realized that those other people who were living the life that they wanted to live figured out something that they did not, and they set out on their own to figure out what it is that they knew and what it is that they did that they didn't do. But you keep telling yourself these stories, you keep telling yourself these tales that because you're sad, everyone who is not sad is out of touch with reality. You keep telling yourself that because you went through something bad and you were traumatized by it, that anyone who is not experiencing the same level of trauma that you are must not have gone through anything. And the problem with that is you are suggesting or assuming that if someone else had experienced what you did, they would be in the exact same position that you are, which is absolutely not the case. I don't give a fuck what it is that you have been through. There is someone in the world who has been through something 100 times worse and is perfectly fine. The shit that gives you nightmares every night is something that someone else completely forgot has taken place and has put way behind them and is fully in your past, but you insist on keeping this shit in your present because you believe that you have to. And as long as you hold these beliefs, when you hold the belief that what happened to you would have put anyone in your situation, you are forever going to be in your situation, because that belief is also the belief that it's impossible to better your situation. That belief is also the belief that it is impossible to overcome. When you get anxious because you have some shit coming up, who the fuck knows, whatever the fuck it is that makes you anxious. When you get anxious because of that and you believe that anyone else would feel the same sort of anxiety as you, in the same position as you, you are limiting yourself and making it so it's not possible for you to get out of that position, because you are never going to do a single thing that you do not believe that it is possible to do. If you don't believe that you can better yourself, you're never going to try. And that's the problem when people have these beliefs that, well, I was born poor and my parents are poor and I have this generational fucking curses with money and all of this shit, so I can never improve my situation. Because you believe that, you are never going to truly try. Just like I don't believe that I can jump off of a fucking building and fly, and I'm never fucking going to. Now, if I did jump off the building, would I fly? Who the fuck knows? But I'm not going to do it because I believe that it would kill me. So that belief in and of itself stops me from ever undertaking that task. I'm aware that that's an extreme thing. And yes, I will probably fall to my death if I jump off of the building. But that applies to any other situation as well. If you don't believe that going to the gym will get you in shape, why the fuck are you going to the gym? Because even for people who love the gym, even for people who enjoy going, I enjoy working out as a whole, but the majority of time I don't fucking want to go. But if no one's going to go do a thing that they don't want to do if they don't believe that it's going to work out, which is why people stay stuck. And all of these little things that proliferate the world, all of these random narratives that are so commonplace that no one even questions, are part of what it is that's keeping people trapped. You see how casually people throw out this stuff, like back during the alleged pandemic, whenever they would see celebrities talking about their life, they would say that they are out of touch or they need to read the room, not realizing that you're the ones who are out of touch with them and they are reading the room. It's just not the room that you were in. But you can absolutely change your fucking room and get to a different one and get to a better one if you stop telling yourself that it's not something that's possible for you to do. When you see, I don't know what it's called, but there was a thing with the 4-minute mile where no one believed that it was possible to run the 4-minute mile until someone ran a 4-minute mile. Then all of a sudden a bunch of people beat the fucking 4-minute mile because they saw that it was possible. It's the exact same thing. The beliefs that you hold in your mind are very, very powerful and shape the reality that you live in and that you experience. The world is not what it is that you see. The world is I said that completely wrong. how you see the world is how the world is. You don't see the world as it is. It is a reflection of your perception. So when you start looking at shit differently, you will start experiencing things differently. And when you start experiencing things differently, then you will start to get different things. But all of that is on you. So you have to reject all of these very commonplace and easily accepted ideas that everyone says but nobody really thinks about. When they talk about the politicians being not knowing what it's like to be like certain people, that's not a bad thing. That's the fucking goal. I used to be poor as fuck, like not college kid poor, like actually poor, like I didn't eat all of the fucking night, and I went entire winters without having any sort of heat. I went months without electricity, and I had to ration my gas because I couldn't fucking afford to get more. And I say that to say that I wanted to leave that behind. I don't want to still know what that's like. Like in the back of my mind, yes, I've experienced it and I have an idea of what it is, but I don't want to still relate to that. I don't want to still have the type of thinking that I had at that point in time, because that's what was keeping me in that position. And I fought very hard to get out of that position. So part of the goal in life is to be out of touch. It is to not be able to relate to certain things. I don't want to relate to out of shape, lazy people. I don't want to relate to depressed ass people. I don't want to relate to people who are so anxious that they can't do anything without having a fucking panic attack. And neither should you. But people hold this thing up like it's some sort of virtue to know what it is that's like constantly, even though everyone's goal should be to not know what the fuck it is that's like. You want to be out of touch with broke people. You want to be out of touch with depressed people. You want to be out of touch with sad, miserable people who aren't going anywhere that they would like to be in life. So none of that shit is a badge of honor to infinitely know what it is that it's like, but people just want to try and make it seem okay that they are not where it is that they are, and like they are the one in the virtuous position. Like you are the one who is doing something right because you're broke. You're the one who's doing something right because you're fat, when that's absolutely not the case. The people that you were claiming are out of touch, the people that you were claiming need to read the room are the people that you need to get in touch with. You need to be out of touch with where the fuck it is that you are at, and you need to reject your current reality and put that as the other one. That's the one that you should not be experiencing. That's the one that you should not be a part of. It's the other shit that you want to get towards. That should be what you consider to be real life. I didn't consider my broke life real life. When I was homeless, I didn't consider that to be real life. That was a situation that I was in that I had to get myself out of, but I didn't believe that that was the real world. And people like to throw around that again, the real world, like the real world is the one inhabited by poor people. That's not the fucking case. That's just your world. That's your segment of the world. In the same way that the zoo is just as much a representation of the real world as being out in the wild is. It's just a different sect of that. So the tigers in the zoo are tigers in the exact same way that the tigers out in the wild are, but they live very different lives. But one of them is not living a fake life. They're both living real lives. So the goal is, which real life do you want to live? Stop labeling all of the shit that's better than you as some sort of fantasy world, because that belief is keeping you from getting to where the fuck it is that you want to be. And as long as you believe you're miserable ass existence is the real version of reality, it will always be your reality.